Alright guys, we got the SteelSeries Apex 3 TKL that we're going to be reviewing here today. Now this is not a mechanical keyboard, but I don't want that to scare you away because I've been testing this thing out for a while now and I really like it. And not only that, I even recommend it because of what it offers for the price. So in the box, we got the keyboard right here and it's all covered up with some plastic film. We got our USB cable here and it's not braided, nothing fancy. It's a plain rubber, but it's actually nice and thick and it feels well made. And then we got this little installation guide here as well. There's just no way to do this review without mentioning plastic. We have a plastic frame, a plastic faceplate, plastic bottom, plastic keycaps, plastic membrane, you name it, it's plastic. You get the idea. And all that plastic makes it super lightweight and it's really noticeable as soon as you pick it up and hold it in your hands. Surprisingly though, they actually did a good job with the build despite all that plastic material because it's really rigid and solid feeling. There's a bunch of rubber pads on the bottom for grip, but this keyboard does have a tendency to move around a little bit when you're gaming, when you start mashing keys and things get going really fast. And I think that's just because of how lightweight it is. It just doesn't have the weight to keep it firmly situated where you put it on the surface of your desk. Now, there is a really easy solution, and if you're somebody that likes those really big doormat-sized mouse pads, kind of like I have behind me here, the keyboard sits on top of that cloth surface and problem solved. As long as I'm not on a hard surface, I found that it'll stay right where I put it. There's a set of flip out feet for height adjustment, but there's only one level. It would be nice to have two. It's always nice to have some options to really fine tune that tilt angle if you really want to get into that. But you know, this is a budget offering, so I'm not going to dock it any points for that. We got some cable routing channels on the bottom, which is really nice to have since this board doesn't have a removable cable. It's nice to be able to get the cable routed based on your setup so it doesn't conflict with, monitor stands or any other stuff you might have on your desk. A nice bonus on a board in this class is dedicated media keys. We got the volume wheel and this little multi-button. Press it once to play or pause, twice to skip forward, and then 3 times to go to the previous track. I will say that I found it a little bit weird having to triple press that button to go to the previous track when you're listening to music or something like that. Doesn't seem like the most intuitive way to cycle through songs or whatever. That said, it is a lot better than not having any dedicated multimedia keys at all. That's definitely for sure, but it is one area that I think they could have improved on this board. Some dedicated keys for forwards, back, play, pause, and all that sort of stuff would have went a long way. As for the rest of the keys, we have what seem to be standard ABS keycaps, but they do have a really solid feel to them because it seems like the injection mold is like extra thick. There's a lot of material there making these things feel a lot stronger than your standard ABS keycap. If we pull a few of these off, we can get a look at what's happening underneath. Now, there's really not much to see here because it's a membrane board, so all there is are some plastic columns that hold the keycaps in place. The actual membrane or dome switches themselves are housed down inside there. I know a lot of gamers are just going to straight up laugh at the idea of having a membrane keyboard these days, but I really don't think that's justified. Yeah, they're not going to be as fast as linear mechanical switches, not even close, but that's really not what it's all about. With these membrane designs, it's all about the feel and the sound. Key presses are soft and pillowy feeling, and you get a little bit of a tactile bump in there as you engage a press. It's a soft and comfortable typing and gaming experience. And when it comes to the sound, they're some of the quietest switches that you can get. Full disclosure, I am not in any way, shape, or form a pro-level gamer, not even close. That said, I really don't feel like my gameplay performance changed at all with the Apex 3 TKL. I normally use red linear switches, which are pretty much the opposite of these membranes, and it was totally fine for me. I didn't feel like I was being held back by the mushiness or the slower feel, and I really liked it overall. As far as I'm concerned, there's really no reason to be afraid of these membrane switches on a gaming keyboard. Now let's talk about that one feature that definitely will make you a better gamer, the RGB lighting. SteelSeries did a good job making the RGB bright and vibrant. The space between the frame and the underside of the keys just pours light out and gives this look like the keys are floating above the board, and I'm really impressed by it overall, except for the number of presets that are available. The SteelSeries engine software seems pretty lacking in terms of lighting options. I'm not sure if there's going to be more added down the line in the future, but as of right now, the choices are pretty slim. And as you'd expect, SteelSeries Engine has options for key remapping, macro programming, and basic stuff like that. One other feature that this board has that I think is kind of cool is that it's apparently water resistant. So if you're somebody that has a bad habit of spilling stuff all over your keyboard, then hey, maybe this one's for you. I like what SteelSeries is doing here with the Apex 3 TKL. It offers the features that gamers want, and those membrane switches are actually really nice to use for typing and gaming. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not going to outperform a $250 top-of-the-line mechanical board, but at this price point, it does offer good performance and value. And